Last week it was Thursday night, I went to a school choice meeting. They had a couple of state reps in there. We had a guy from the Milton Friedman Institute. I interviewed him on the air here, all about school choice. School choice is something that I am firmly behind. We got to do something that allow parents to use their tax dollars the way they see fit. Whether it's a charter school, whether it's sending it to a neighboring community, whatever. I'm not asking for somebody to be able to send their kid to a rich school if the people in that rich neighborhood are funneling extra dollars into the school because they want to build it up. I think they're able to do that. Fine. I'm asking for the tax dollars that the average person spends on for their kids that is allocated out in a community, whether it's $10,000 per student in your community or $5,000 or $20,000, for those parents to be able to use the lion's share of that to educate their kids as they see fit. That's how I see it. Whether they want to spend it on school supplies for homeschooling, send them to a private school, whatever it is. Maybe it's just the district you live in. I wouldn't be opposed to that. If they say, okay, in this district it's $4,500 per kid, fine. You really should be able to use all 100% of it. But I'll play ball with the schools. I'll say, you know what, give me 70%. You keep the 30%. You don't even have to worry about educating my kid. You keep the 30%. And what's happened in Florida, in places that have supported ideas of school choice, it has put the pressure on the local district to say, if we don't make sure we're servicing these kids, educating them to the level the parents want, offering them the type of classes, not protecting teachers, then they can take their dollars and go elsewhere. So it is that free market thing. It puts the pressure on them to make sure that they are providing a good product and service. If not, competition's right around the corner. So I firmly support that. What we can't do at this point, until there is legislation passed in the state or anywhere else in the tri-state area, we can't just simply say, I'm going to lie and send my kids to a different school district. That's what happened up north, outside of Akron. There was a lady, Kelly Bowler. She's been in the news over the last week or so. She got convicted of lying about her residency to get her daughters into a better school. And while I feel her pain, her kids would have had to go to one of the Akron schools. Yeah, not good. But she doesn't live all that far from the Copley Fairlawn schools. Very highly rated, a lot more dough. I don't fault her for that. I understand why she wants to do that. She wants to send her kids to a better school. Less crime, better education. Good for her. But you can't do that right now. You got convicted. You broke the law. So while I understand it, and I feel sorry for her, she's got to move into that other district at this point, or fight for the change in the state that says you'll be able to send your kids to whatever district you want with the tax dollars that you pay and the tax dollars that are already allocated for those kids. No, I'm not sure she should be given any serious punishment. They're asking her to pay back the $30,000 in tuition. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. She was sentenced to 10 days in the county jail. Really, 10 days? No, I mean, plenty of people lie about where their kids go to school. No, they'll rent a cheap apartment somewhere in that district and claim that the kids go to school there. Meanwhile, they live someplace else. She's just the one who got nailed on it. So, no, paying back the $30,000 tuition. Really, if it's $30,000 tuition that her kids got by going to school in the other district, then how come they make my argument for me that we should be able to take that tuition and go somewhere else? If you're saying it costs the district $30,000 to educate her kids, then she should be able to take it, the $30,000 or whatever it was in the district that she didn't have her kids in. They weren't spending those dollars. Now, we know it doesn't work that way because it's not like, although they allocate a certain amount and they say, okay, it's roughly $30,000 or $10,000, whatever it is in this district per school, per kid, it doesn't break down to, okay, we're paying one teacher X number of dollars for your kid, and he uses X number or amount of light and X amount of water or whatever it is in the school. It's the group. We turn the lights on for all the kids, and then we divide it by the number of kids, and that's how much we're paying for services and stuff at school. So it doesn't work that way. But if they are going to say she has to pay back the $30,000, then guess what? The other school district ought to be able to say, you're right, we didn't spend that amount of money, so we'll go ahead and give it to her and she can put it over there. You can't justify or excuse that she broke the law. She did the wrong thing. But you can use stories like this to really bring about the change that needs to happen. It's ridiculous to say that a mom who pays taxes, money is allocated for her kids to go to school, can't use those dollars where she wants to use them, that she sees would be the best education for her kids. That she looks around and says, okay, I think my kids would get the best education here, 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 or here. That's what school choice is about. And that's what we need in America, all over America, not just the states that have already tried to work on it like Florida. There are some cool things going on in Ohio. Heard the state rep last week talk about an online class clearinghouse. And I'm going to get him on in the next week or so to talk about it. It's really fascinating. Ohio, according to him, is leading the nation in getting this educational clearinghouse where kids anywhere would be able to take a class anywhere else in the state. They would be able to say, okay, I can log on here, take this class. It helps the teachers because they can make some side money. It helps the kids because they can take classes that maybe aren't offered in their class or in their school district. If they want to learn French and French isn't taught in their school, they'd be able to go and take that class or whatever it is. It brings some free market ideas to it. And if what he's saying is right, the way he laid it out to me, it's something that could be very good for America, and you could see Ohio lead the nation for a long time. You could see a lot of other states fall in line with this. We'll talk about that coming up. We'll get him on the air in the next week or so he can lay out the entire thing. I got the semi-regular supplement in the paper this morning, the Inquirer. The Gear Up scores, talks about the Cincinnati public schools. Yeah, it's a 4-page. They stuffed in it. Talks all about bullying and stuff. I've talked about this in the past because up at the top, it mentions University of Cincinnati, Cincinnati Public Schools, Cincinnati State, Cincinnati Youth Collaborative, the Reds, the Bengals, the Inquirer, Parents for Public Schools, the United Way, all of these different groups that have come together, I guess, to pay for this. Well, if the schools are paying for this, how come they're not spending the money on the kids? Because I'm telling you, the kids aren't reading the Inquirer. They're not pulling this out. But I want to share some of the wonderful words of wisdom. Oh, it's wonderful. Oh, yeah, the kids are going to read this and just fall right in line with it. I'll give you the details. Take a couple of calls next. 700 W. Doc Thompson, 700 WLW. Mike on a cell phone. How are you?
Wonderful.
I
got a question.
Yes, sir.
What's this lady up there in Cleveland crossing the state, the boundaries of the school? They have in the larger cities. I live in a small town. We have what they call open enrollment, where all the adjacent schools you can apply at a different school and take your stuff to that school. Yeah,
they don't have that there. And it comes down to, it was Akron district versus the Copley Fairlawn district, and they got a lot more money there. Not every district has open enrollment with other districts. I know Cincinnati Public has open enrollment within all of its schools, and then you get some districts, but they didn't have that.
What I wanted to know, I wondered why she wasn't doing that. Now I know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Mike, don't you think you ought to be able to spend your dollars wherever you want to put your kid, whether it's a private school or homeschool or wherever?
You pay the taxes, you ought to be able to take your money where you want.
That's how I think. Thank you. Appreciate the call. But unfortunately, money is spent on ridiculous things like this supplement in the Inquirer. Now, I can only imagine, since all of these advertisers or these people are at the top as sponsors or part of the team, that they must be putting up some money for it. Maybe the Cincinnati Public Schools aren't. If they are, they should be ashamed of themselves. If the other people are, well, it's nice that you want to help out, but this is really the best place you can put your money, with a little supplement in the Inquirer. Oh, it's 4 pages. Let me tell you some of the gems that the kids will be reading about as they rush home and grab the Inquirer. You know, that 6th grader who rushes home to read the paper. No, they run all the way home. No, they don't put the iPod on. They don't put cartoons, MTV, anything like that. No, they don't grab a snack. They run home. Grab that Inquirer. Oh, there it is. It's the Gear Up Scores Supplemental Edition. Excellent. Wonderful. Let's see what they'll be reading about today. To sleep. Yep, it's all about sleep and how important it is. In fact, it gives some tips on sleep. Now, I hope you're going to take notes. I want you to grab a pen, piece of paper. You got it? I don't want to go too fast because these are gems. How do I know if I'm getting enough sleep? And there are 4 bullet points. Bullet point number 1. I have a lot of difficulty waking up in the morning. That's how you know. You may not be getting enough sleep. Interesting. I tend to be grumpy later in the day. Whoop, there's another one. I sometimes fall asleep in class. And I sleep extra long on the weekends. I never knew it. You know, I'm falling asleep in class. I'm grumpy. I have trouble getting up in the morning. So you're saying that may be that I'm not getting enough sleep? Oh, well, thank golly I raced right home and opened this up. Woo! This is good. Then there's a whole page on taking a stand against violence. Excellent. No, it's good. I'm sure those kids are at school just, cracking skulls, pulling knives on each other. Then they rush home to read this special advertising supplement in the Inquirer. Everybody's teamed up to tell them about violence. Then they know the problems. You want to know how students can help reduce violence? Well, there are some tips. The first way a student can help reduce violence, make a commitment to not be violent. Wait a minute. This is amazing. I wonder, how many grants did they get? How many researchers did they have working on this? I'm sure plenty. They've got out slide rules. They've got, the computers just ablaze. People are dun, 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 just, okay, we've got an algorithm here that shows that if you want to help reduce violence, then make a commitment to not be violent. Genius! Excellent! I'm sure the people that came up with this, who wrote this, are probably in the running for a Nobel Peace Prize. How to reduce violence. Make a commitment to not be violent. Excellent. You know how else? You cannot carry weapons. And stay away from teens who do. Very interesting. Now, those are just for students. You know how teachers can help reduce violence? This, I'm sure, was a whole different grant. Millions or billions of dollars spent. This has probably been 45 years in the making. The brightest minds around the globe probably came together for this special advertising supplement to show teachers how they can help reduce violence. Tip number 1, refuse to allow violence in the classroom. Yes! Excellent! Russ Jackson, I demand that I stay on 24 hours, that you get the other local media in here. I want you to call the president. I want you to get CNN and Fox in here. This is incredible. If only teachers had this knowledge at every other school, they could reduce violence simply if they did not allow violence in the classroom. How come this is only in Cincinnati? How come they're not sharing these gems with the world? Oh, my golly. This is incredible, earth-shattering. Teachers can also show support for school rules. That'll help reduce violence. Encourage students to report violence. That's something else teachers can do. But that first one is big. This is incredible. Refuse to allow violence in the classroom for teachers. And students make a commitment to not be violent. Yep. Oh, parents are not excused from this either. Nope, whole other research team. What can parents do? They can show support for laws and school rules and let a kid know the reasons for them. They can also show an interest in the kid's relationship with friends. You know the risk factors for violent behavior? This is very important. Here are some of the risk factors, and this is all from that special advertising supplement, a wealth of material here. It says a Surgeon General's report on youth and violence said that the strongest hazards to people between the ages of 6 and 11, the strongest hazards to people between the ages of 6 and 11, are you ready? Number 1, being involved in serious but not necessarily violent criminal behavior. Yes, that is one of the risk factors for violent behavior. Being involved in serious but not necessarily violent criminal behavior. That's one of the risk factors for violent behavior is being involved in violent behavior. You know the risk factors for choking on a donut? Choking on a donut. Yep. You know one of the risk factors for getting caught speeding is if you get caught speeding. It's a huge risk factor, yes. Also, a risk factor for violent behavior being male. Well, where's that sharp knife? I don't want to be at risk. Where's the scissors? In Blue Ash, Steve, you're on 700 WLW.
How you doing today?
I'm doing well, sir.
Good. Hey, I had a couple ideas about being tired at school.
Yes.
Why not change the start times and get the buses out of the way for rush hour? Let them stay up late like they all want to anyway, and then they can just get up whenever and then go to school like at 10 o'clock in the morning.
You know what? That is actually a very good idea. There are some schools that have tried that. I think I read about it just a couple months ago that have just said, we're going to go ahead and start school an hour or so later, and it's been successful. It really has. The kids are naturally prone to stay up a little bit later or want to, like you said, whether it's television shows, society, the parents working, whatever. So they start a little bit later. They're more refreshed. They're doing better in school. It's not a bad idea. I just hope you've looked at the paper and you've got the warning signs of if a kid isn't getting enough sleep, such as they're tired, stuff like that. Before I get to the news, I got to share a couple of other risk factors for violent behavior in the paper. These are very important. Another risk factor for violent behavior is if you are being physically aggressive. Yeah, that could lead to violent behavior. If you're experiencing poverty, so what you want to do is don't experience poverty anymore. Go out and get some money. What you do is you take a gun and a violent act, you steal some money, and then you'll have the money so you don't have to be violent anymore. See how that works? Also, having antisocial parents. So if your parents are jackasses, you know what? You're doomed. You're doomed to be violent, apparently. These are all gems. All gems. Excellent. Can't wait till the kids get home from school today. Rush to read the Inquirer and learn. Violence will come to an end and they'll all get good night's sleep. It's Doc Thompson, 700.